Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In financial news, investors pushed U.S. stocks higher, helped by an improving employment picture in the run-up to official job numbers. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 43 points, or 0.4%, to 10,680, led by consumer discretionary stocks. The Blue Chip Index has gained 1.32% in the past 5 sessions, despite slipping slightly on 4 of those days. The Nasdaq Composite rose 13 points to 2,296, while the S&P 500 added 4 points at 1,125. With consumer discretionary and healthcare stocks leading the way. Priceline.com surged 21% to a 10-year high after its quarterly earnings jumped 72%, easily topping Wall Street forecast. Goldman Sachs raised its target price on the stock, calling Priceline one of the best growth stories in the internet history. Polo Ralph Lauren added 6.8% and Coach gained 4.9%. Walt Disney and DuPont were the strongest among Dow components, gaining 1.9% each. Telecommunications stocks declined. Verizon Communications was off 0.6% and AT&T slipped 0.5%. Bulls were helped by a surprise increase in private sector employment as well as encouraging signs of expansion in the U.S. service sector. In U.S. news, after a protracted battle that set off a national debate over freedom of religion, a Muslim center and mosque to be built 2 blocks from Ground Zero surmounted a final hurdle. The city's Landmark Preservation Commission voted 9-0 against granting historic protection to the building at 4547 Park Place in Lower Manhattan, where the $100 million center would be built. The decision clears the way for the construction of Park 51, a tower of as many as 15 stories that will house a mosque, a 500-seat auditorium, and a pool. Its leaders say it will be modeled on the YMCA and the Jewish Community Center in Manhattan. The vote was free of much of the contempt that had been part of the previous hearings. One by one, members of the commission debated the aesthetic significance of the building, designed in the Italian Renaissance style by an unknown architect. Later in the day, Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who has forcefully defended the planned mosque, praised the Landmarks Commission vote. Mr. Bloomberg said, "To cave to popular sentiment would be to hand a victory to the terrorists." Christopher Moore, a member of the commission, said the vote was not a matter of religion, though he argued that the building could not be divorced from the memory of the September 11th attacks. The issue has divided family members of those killed on September 11th. Some argued it was insensitive to the memory of those who died in the attacks. Others saw it as a symbol of tolerance to counter the religious extremism that prevailed on that day. In international news, when gunmen ambushed Iraqi security checkpoints in a large Sunni neighborhood of Baghdad, terrorized residents said the attack reminded them of the worst days of the war. The United States military said that it was unaware of any gunfighting. When the Associated Press reported that July was the worst month for Iraqi casualties in more than 2 years, the United States military denied it. The American command said, yes, Iraqis are still dying, but in strikingly fewer numbers than the Iraqi government ministries have stated. As American forces exit Iraq with only 50,000 troops to remain by the end of this month and all to be withdrawn within a year, the American military command is accentuating the positive. The Americans also say they are increasingly relying on Iraqis for information that they use in the story they tell, that the country they are leaving behind is steadily improving and on the path to becoming a safe and stable democracy. But it is also an axiom of conflict that competing stories emerge about the same events. The fog of the war still shrouds this country more than 7 years after the American-led invasion, at a time when America's war is largely complete, even as its legacy remains unfinished.
Ever wished you had sonic hearing? Well, now you can with the amazing Silversonic XL from Bell & Howell. It's lightweight and small, just like a cell phone ear adapter, and it fits your ear just as easily. Its IC chip technology lets you hear sounds from more than 30 yards away, amplifying them up to 50 decibels to give you crisp, clear sonic hearing. The Bell & Howell Silversonic XL is yours for only $19.95, so order now.
Call 1-800-230-7100 or send $19.95 to the address on your screen. That's 1-800-230-7100.
In entertainment news, Lady Gaga received 13 nominations for the MTV Video Music Awards, setting a new record for the most nominations ever in a single VMA season. Rapper Eminem was the most nominated male artist with 8 nods after the success of his latest album, Recovery, while Canadian teen idol Justin Bieber scored his first nomination in the Best New Artist category for the music video hit single, Baby. Newcomer Keisha joined veterans Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Katy Perry, Usher, and indie band Florence and the Machine, among other nominees. Lady Gaga has 2 entries in the coveted Video of the Year category, Bad Romance and Telephone, featuring Beyoncé, where her competition includes Eminem for Not Afraid and B.O.B. for Airplanes. The glam pop singer also won nods in Best Pop, Best Dance, and Best Female Music Video categories. Lady Gaga said in a statement, "I'm so honored for all the little monsters and self-professed freaks of the universe to have more VMA nominations in a single year than any artist in MTV history. Ironically, I'm even more proud it's an unlucky number, 13. In tech news, a security researcher created a cell phone base station that tricks cell phones into routing their outbound calls through his device, allowing someone to intercept even encrypted calls in the clear. The device tricks the phones into disabling encryption and records call details and content before they're routed on their proper way through the voice over IP. The low-cost, homebrewed device developed by researcher Chris Paget mimics more expensive devices already used by intelligence and law enforcement agencies that can capture phone ID data and content. The device essentially spoofs a legitimate GSM tower and entices cell phones to send them data by emitting a signal that's stronger than the legitimate towers in the area. Paget said, "If you have the ability to deliver a reasonably strong signal, then those around you are owned." Paget's system cost only about $1,500 as opposed to several hundreds of thousands of dollars for professional products. Most of the price is for the laptop he used to operate the system. Paget said, "Doing this kind of interception used to be $1 million. Now you can do it with 1,000 times less cost." Paget's device only captures 2G GSM calls, making AT&T and T-Mobile calls, which use GSM vulnerable to interception. Paget's aim was to highlight vulnerabilities in the GSM standard that allows a rogue station to capture calls. GSM is a second-generation technology that is not as secure as 3G. In travel news, when you walk into Victoria Hall at the Oxford University's Keble College, it looks like you have entered a Hogwarts experience. Before you is a Gothic dining hall nearly the length of a football field, filled with log wooden tables illuminated by reading lamps. From the cathedral-high brick walls hung portraits of the college's former wardens and founders beneath stained glass windows. As you linger over a breakfast of sausages, roasted tomatoes, baked beans, and eggs, you find yourself staring up at the image of the college's namesake, the Reverend John Keble. Never mind that the dining hall used in the Harry Potter films is down the street at Christ Church College, and unlike Christ Church, which is open to tourists only at certain hours of the day, visitors at Keble can actually spend the night in the dormitory rooms of the 19th century college, having meals there and roam the university's manicured gardens. Keble College is one of more than 24 universities in 20 cities in Britain whose bustling dormitories are transformed into tranquil bed and breakfasts during summer, spring, and sometimes even Christmas vacations. According to Charlie Ramsey, managing director of the university rooms, the consortium behind the web-based business, some 3,000 accommodations from singles with shared baths to family suites are available during the summer season alone. In green news, according to a new article in the New York Times, some residents near the Shepherd's Flat wind farm in Oregon have been offered $5,000 not to complain about the whooshing noise from the planned 338 wind turbines. Apparently, it's a preemptive effort to avoid the noise at the nearby Willow Creek wind farm, which has been found to be in violation of state noise pollution laws. Treehugger.com has discussed whether or not wind farms do or do not cause adverse health effects if they are built too closely to human habitation on a number of occasions. Residents of the remote high desert hills near here have had an unusual visitor recently, a fixer working out the kinks in a clean energy operation. Patricia Pills of Catalyst Energy, a big company from New York that is helping make this part of eastern Oregon one of the fastest growing wind power regions in the country, is making a tempting offer. Sign a waiver saying you will not complain about the excessive noise from the turning turbines, and she will cut you a check for $5,000. Some people who did not sign said that Mrs. Pills made them feel uncomfortable, that she talked about how much Shepherd's Flat would benefit from the struggling local economy and the nation's energy goals, and that she suggested that they were not thinking of the greater good if they refused. Just because wind turbines generate low-carbon electricity doesn't mean we can overlook concerns in regards to conservation and potential human health issues, or that it's acceptable for green power companies to essentially bribe people to keep quiet, any more than it's acceptable for fossil fuel companies to do the same. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
The makeup in today's program is provided by MAC Cosmetics.